All right, greetings. Welcome back to Black Bear News, where everything is connected. What's going on, people? We're live on Substack, Odyssey, and YouTube for the time being. Yeah, there's lots of things going on, lots of changes. What's up, William, on Substack? How you doing? The general strike has not started yet. I don't know where everybody's at, but there is a general strike. The big news tomorrow. Remember when we used to do No Gas Fridays? Does anybody remember that? Has anybody been around long enough for that? We used to try to do gas strike Fridays back in the day. All right, couple people on Substack. We're rolling in slow today, I guess. I don't know what's up. YouTubers, is everybody blocked on YouTube or something? I don't know. Maybe. I feel like there's a lot of it seems to be that their social media suppression has ticked up. And as with like TikTok changing hands has inspired a lot of people to delete the app, myself included. I didn't delete my account. I've not deleted my accounts. I don't know what, deleting, if TikTok goes under or just becomes unpopular, it would be, first of all, it would be a big financial hit probably to Oracle. Larry Ellison and Oracle have taken over the app, but that's just like, it's kind of like saying the CIA has taken over the app, because Oracle is basically a front for intelligence. It's like Palantir. If they lose money, I don't know if they go out of business. Does the government just keep them floating? But in these days and times, that's not such a great prospect. So any I think financial leverage we can use, I think, is probably one of the best things we can do. I'm not, I've been suppressed definitely on lots of platforms, but I'm especially not happy about TikTok. A lot of people have experienced a lot of problems. A lot of people have been, booted off. Of course, we know, like, they're all bad. Eventually, we're going to get off. I'm going to get off the Meta platforms, because I think they're not great. So yeah, Oracle officially took over TikTok. They've been running the servers for a couple of years though now, so people are saying, they just keep updating the terms of service and keep upgrading their algorithms to squash people, but mostly I think they're interested in keeping people from talking about Israel and the big G that's going on there. So a lot of people have deleted the TikTok app. Hold on one second. I think X might be next for me. I know a lot of people are still on X. What we've seen is here, I wanted to actually find this from James Lee. I think James Lee is still on X. I know people, these are platforms to get your information out on, but At some point, we got to quit supporting them, because even our information, even putting our information on, even using the apps to reach people, I think you're giving them power, and you're giving them power over your information. They're giving, so eventually we really got to vacate the premises. I think that's just way more powerful than like, I don't like it here. Bad people own this platform. They're all going to take part in major suppression pretty soon, if they're not already. But they're all going to take part in the ramping up of suppression. Here's James Lee talking about TikTok and the changes there. And James Lee doesn't have an account on TikTok anymore. I think he got booted off. You're not on X anymore, Poppy? Yeah, I might join there.
And that is the goal, to make TikTok a mostly apolitical platform, except for the politics that have been approved by intelligence. This is from Mint Press News. TikTok is being run by a bunch of Unit 8200 agents, which is the Israeli version of the NSA. Ruth Medallion, who works on the trust and safety team on TikTok, based in New York. And would you look at that? Israeli Military Intelligence Unit 8200. Here's another one. Omer Carmeli, global marketing at TikTok, former field operations specialist, IDF Elite Intelligence Unit. Einav Mir, client solutions manager at TikTok, and she used to be, would you look at that, a web intelligence analyst for the Israeli Military Unit 8200. Probably just a coincidence, right, guys? Okay, this is important information to know. Former Unit 8200 agents working hand in hand with the Israeli National Security State have gone on to create some of the world's most notorious malware and hacking products. A case in point is the Pegasus software used to spy on more than 50,000 journalists, politicians, diplomats, business leaders, and human rights defenders.
Okay, well, that was just a clip of a longer video, but you guys get the idea. So it's not even, it is an arm of the, TikTok is now owned by basically an extension of the U.S. intelligence agencies, but more to the point, they're owned by Israel. So it's the agencies who are, I guess, in the pocket of Israel, and that's who's really running kind of everything. And what's a crazy thought is that Jeffrey Epstein might be the Antichrist. People talk about Trump being the Antichrist. Nah, it's Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein is the Antichrist because he literally blackmailed an entire generation of politicians and business leaders and tech titans. And he pretty much set up the ability for Israel to infiltrate, own, and co-opt literally everything in the United States. Jeffrey Epstein is the key to all of that. He is the person he's the link between all of these things happening, whether he's still alive or not. I think he's still around. I don't think he died. I think he vacated the premises. So Jeffrey Epstein is the Antichrist. He's the devil. And he's if one single man could be blamed for the downfall, for the late stage downfall of pretty much the entire civilization of the planet, it could be Jeffrey Epstein. I know there are a lot of other people involved, but he's kind of the linchpin. So yeah, TikTok is evil. TikTok is bad. I deleted it. I did not delete my accounts. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm definitely at least deleting it for the time being. Okay, so tomorrow is a general strike. Tomorrow is a very large, very well advertised general strike. And of course, nobody on the media, and they're trying to suppress, I think, people talking about it on social media. But it's not going to get a lot of traction on the media. And because all of these apps are involved in, keeping you down. They don't want word of a general, but it's hard to keep it. It's pretty much everywhere right now. So it's hard to keep it under wraps. Where are we at here? Hold on, people. Hold on. But all day tomorrow, people are calling for a general strike, no work. No shopping. No nothing. Just sit it out. And I know that not everybody can do that. But do what you can. Not everybody can not work. But you could really try to not shop. I think that's a good place to start. If you could really just not shop. And this is kind of something that needs to continue. Here we go. I mean, there's quite a bit on this. There's so many articles and posts I've been seeing about this. Friday, January 30th, no work, no school, no shopping. My issue is that well, I need to work, but the thing is that if people do strike, there probably won't be a lot of work for me. But I don't know. I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. I definitely will not be shopping tomorrow. Obviously I don't go to school except for the school of hard knocks, and that's been my whole goddamn life. But I think it's got a lot of support. I think there's going to be a lot of people taking part in this. And if you can take a part, if you can be a part of it, if you can lend a hand and lend a shoulder, I think this is a good thing. I think this is the direction we need to be going in. And I actually think, thank God it's not, well, obviously it would be kind of stupid if it was a Saturday, but thank God it's not a Saturday protest. What would be even better is if this extended, somebody was saying, how about every Friday? And what needs to happen is it needs to go Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It just needs to go on and on. Like until the economy is absolutely crippled, until people are like, oh man, we got to stop doing this because we got to stop with this ICE bullshit because, I mean, have a list of demands. It's not just don't stop at ICE. Don't stop at ICE getting out. Don't stop at, at that. Don't stop till Trump leaves. Don't stop till, we have a, snap election. Don't stop until we have AIPAC out. Don't stop until we have Citizens United overturned, et cetera, et cetera. But, you got to take steps, right? Baby steps, I suppose. So, if you're in support of this, get the word out. I've been pushing this out there. By the way, going back to deleting TikTok, and you do what you like. I'm going to try and what I want to do is just move to more friendly, Substack is very questionable. I have really enjoyed Substack because they're actually letting me get followers and like have interactions and let people see my posts. So I think there's less suppression there. I have heard from other people that there is some suppression there. It is run by Mark Andreessen, or a company that was started by him or has links to him. So he's not a good guy. He's one of the evil doers. He is one of the the tech underlords. So will Substack stay relatively free speech? Crystal Ball says not likely, not bloody likely, because the bad people own it. And as soon as somebody complains loud enough, they'll they'll bring the cape back and they'll go, "Mwahaha." Everybody quiet now. So all that to be saying, I'm just trying to move over to platforms that are just a little less censorious for now, a little less controlled by straight up controlled and censored. It's hard to get off YouTube because everybody seems to be on YouTube, but it's hard to get, I guess, traction on some other platforms. I don't think Rumble's an alternative. It's owned by Peter Thiel, so I just I gave up on that pretty quickly. So news for you guys. There is a new app. There is a new social media app. It is run by a Palestinian, or started by a Palestinian. It is anti-censorship, anti-algorithm suppression, which all sounds very lovely. It's called Upscrolled. Just search it in your app store. I'm already on Upscrolled as Kevin Sandbloom. There's no Black Bear News on Upscrolled yet. So I have already started an account on Upscrolled. It's supposed to be anti-censorship. It's supposed to be free speech. It's supposed to be, not non-Zionist, anti-Zionist and not controlled by Zionists. So let's hope that's true. I'm over there trying it out. I hope you all join me over there and try it out. So maybe we can have an alternative social media app that is not controlled by, the Sith Lords. So I'm over there. That's a good thing. That's I'm trying to just gravitate towards different platforms that allow me to at least get some kind of message out, or at least to allow people to see my stuff somewhere, sometime, somehow. And we will just plod along and do what we can do. What else is going on? Well, speaking of TikTok, I saw that Oracle is underwater. Oracle they've been trying to, Larry Ellison and Oracle have been trying to, buy up everything, and it's kind of backfiring. Hold on one second. Which is why I deleted the app, because if we can force Oracle into some kind of, if they have to be bailed out by the government, if they are facing extreme financial pressure, if we can get their stock shares to collapse, this would be a good thing. This would be a really great thing. I mean, Oracle is down by almost half in the last couple of months. Again, the problem is that they literally are an arm of the CIA. So they have access to government funds if they need to stay afloat, just like Palantir. Where was this? I just saw. Yeah, Oracle is down 50% from September 2025. And what I've heard is that they're suffering. And that's an awesome thing. That's really great. And this is what we need to do to most of the corporations out there. If there's a way that we can drain their cash flows, if there's a way that we could undermine their stock prices, if there's a way that we can take their knees out, that's something we should do. That's absolutely something we should do. So, as you know, that's why one of the reasons why I deleted TikTok is that, I wanted to do that. And I wanted to, I think we should extend the general strike to maybe, no social media on bullshit apps, right? Like, don't support these jerks if you can. Go do something else. Let them feel some pain too. Let them feel a number crunch. Let's see. I found this article, How I Disconnected from Tech in 2025. I didn't read the whole thing. I just kind of scanned some of it. And this guy has an interesting take on how to kind of like divest your attention from technology. And he has a little spreadsheet about how difficult or easy it will be certain things. He really, got into mapping this out, this whole like escape from tech thing. Which, I think is a valid and valiant thing to do if you can. It just depends on your level. Like, he's saying there's a level of, for most people, everybody has their own personal investment in what's going on, in technology, on your phone, on your laptop, or whatever it is that you're using. Some people are able to manage themselves and live their lives like way outside of technology. Other people are, obviously very much tied into it in order to live their lives. So there are degrees. But anyways, I'm not going to really read any of this. I just maybe I'll just put this link in the chats if y'all want to check it out. Just stop using Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and you'll be fine. Yeah, I mean that's that's valid. What I'm trying to do is gravitate. Let's see, Gene Whitworth on Substack. All we got to do is stop voting and other forms of support for the political system. That is the root of the problem. These isolated actions aren't working. They've been going on for decades. My problem with not voting, Gene, I mean, listen, your take is valid, and I don't necessarily disagree with you. Felon is on Odyssey. What's up? Free Fridays. Yay. I will put on my Striker t-shirt, candy stripes. I do, however, have to go shopping for the community center tomorrow. Hey, do what you can. Do what you can. If you can't do anything tomorrow, like that's, look, some people, you have to survive. You have to do what you got to do. People have lives and they have to keep living them. And so, if you can strike, if you can be a part of it, I think that's great. If you can't, I'm sure there are other opportunities or other ways that you can chip in. I agree with. I think Facebook and Instagram are just as evil. I'm heavily on Instagram, kind of, and I'm on Facebook, but not not as heavily as I'm on Instagram. But I'm trying to switch more to Substack right now, and in Patreon, I'm kind of getting into promoting like Patreon pages. So what I want to do is post more on my music Patreon, and then probably on the Black Bear News Patreon is what I'm going to try to do. So, if you guys are wondering where you can probably see most of my activity, it'll be, more of those apps. And then if this Upscrolled app looks pretty cool. It's kind of an Instagram-ish type app. Upscrolled might actually be the cool alternative to Instagram and TikTok, because I find that they're both very similar these days. So yeah, I'm gonna try to spend my time on apps that are just not quite as evil, or maybe not evil at all if I can find them. Yeah, I got you, Creative. Yep. You're right, Extra Bulla. It's new and it's not fucked with yet. But apparently they're not, there's no Zionists involved. The guy that started the app is Palestinian. It's anti-censorship, anti-suppression. So I mean, all those things are great. We'll see. I'm gonna hang out on that app for a while, and it seems like a lot of people are jumping onto it. It got a lot of heat in the last couple of days, and thank you, Obsolete Optics, for recommending the app to me. I appreciate it. It's funny because he recommended the app, and then like, a few seconds later, I saw another friend of mine going like, Upscrolled, come over to Upscrolled. So y'all, how's everybody in the Midwest doing as far as weather and temperature? Are you guys still suffering through ice and snow and bitter cold? Are y'all supposed to get another wave? Yeah. Y'all supposed to get another wave this weekend? Is that true? Let's see. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be pretty cold again. I'm seeing icing events happening. Yikes. -1. Jesus. It's tundra. I've been seeing you have 6 inches on the ground? Okay. Yeah, I've been seeing like snow in El Paso. I've been seeing all kinds of weather anomalies. People pretty far south getting snow drifts. So that's kind of wild. Speaking of general strike, this is this is the difference between the US and France and other places. France is really good at shutting things down when they're unhappy. American leftists, we should buy less on Amazon. French Union cuts the entire electric power on an Amazon site in solidarity with Amazon workers, protests against working conditions and against pension reform. Yes, that's freaking awesome. Cuts the electric power. If people did that here, they'd be like, that's illegal. That's infrastructure. You're going to jail. Nah, man. Nah. And you gotta, so what? I mean, we are definitely more fascist here, and we've been more fascist here. You have to worry about the chickens getting chilly. Yo, 4 degrees ain't no joke. But this is how it is done. This is how it must be done. I'm seeing a lot of people out there waking up to the fact that the whole like the nonviolence thing is a trap. The Second Amendment allows you to defend yourself against, basically the idea behind it is that you're defending yourself, not just from other people, but from a tyrannical government. And if the Second Amendment carries with it the idea that violence is completely and utterly acceptable if you're fighting the powers that be. It's in the Constitution, but like they'll argue up and down, like, and the government, stomping on everybody with all kinds of violence, just literal outright violence and weapons and then economic violence and, etc. Racial violence, cultural violence, blah, blah, blah. Like, the whole thing. They're about as violent as they come and have always been. So the whole idea that like, well, you're, can't have any violence. And if you're violent against the state, that you're a very bad, and that's just kind of how it goes. I mean, like, but they really have convinced people that like, that there's no way. I'm not saying that I am, I'm not trying to tell people to be violent. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, they've put people in kind of a box with the nonviolent thing, and it's kind of in line. It's also that's tied up with respectability politics, right? And, which they tried to extend to like words. Your words are violence, like that's the thing. Like they can extend it, as far as they want. If they tell you that violence is bad and you can't commit violence, well, they could extend it to if you strike or you boycott, that's economic violence. And absolutely they've said stuff like that. People have said stuff like that out loud. Well, you can't, you're instigating, economic violence or stochastic violence, stochastic terrorism, blah, 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 right? Like they just can make shit up all day long. But like, no, I don't think so. I like that extra bullet. I'm against violence. I don't like violence. However, the state is being ultra violent, and so I don't know what at that point all bets are off, right? There's an agreement. I think there's an agreement there. Like violence is bad, yes, of course, but if you are violent towards somebody and then you say you can't be violent, well then the agreement is null and void. I don't know. How do you explain stand your ground laws? You're literally saying like it's cool to be violent if somebody comes into your home and threatens you. Yeah, well, kind of the same idea. But proceed with caution. Yes, there you go. Going south. You're on upscrolled. Cool. Yeah, I think it's kind of cool if we can pull a MySpace on TikTok. That would be kind of awesome. Even a MySpace on Instagram would be kind of awesome too. I mean, I know people love Instagram, but I'm telling you, Instagram is not your friend. Because they are owned by Meta, which is all up in the alphabet soup. Militias were designed to fight native people and capture slaves. Really? All militias? I don't know. All right. Extra bully, you're on upscrolled. All right, I'm gonna follow you guys. Yeah, I can see that creative. Because they don't want black militias. Remember when the Black Panther showed up to the government steps in Sacramento with exercising their right to carry, their open carry right. And California was like, no, that's actually not a thing anymore. It's not a thing. We can't allow that. We can't allow black people to defend themselves and open carry weapons. No, hell no. We are progressive, right? California was like, we are progressive on gun control. Gun control is an interesting thing, right? And Trump has lately come out, right? He was saying, he came out, he said something about Preddy, right? Who was killed. He had a weapon on him, but he had a license to carry. And he, people were saying, well, he shouldn't have been there armed. Well, that's not a reason to be killed. If you have a license and you're open carrying, that's not, that's not, yeah. Whites tell you who is a militia or not. Okay. I'll give you that one. Yes, creative. That has been historically and pretty much currently true. There's a lot more, I feel like I've seen it, it seems like there's a big uptick in black gun owners. And right. Black gun ownership and Second Amendment, exercising Second Amendment rights, which, hey, I'm not a gun person. Like I said, I'm not a gun person. I'm not a violence person, but the Second Amendment has a reason. It has, there's a reason it's there, and it's actually a good one. And so I support it just on philosophical grounds. Because if they take away everybody's guns, then it's a lot less scary. What's up? Reflect the Sun is out over here. What are we doing? What are we talking about? This is an interesting post in a bombshell revelation. So going back to maybe economic news, and there are a lot of not very great signs out there on the economy. Poppy says, not a reason to be killed, but I wouldn't yell at, taunt, disobey a policeman who pulled me over. I guess that's the lens I look through. I mean, I wouldn't either. However, it's still not a reason to, I don't know. That's an interesting one to me, because that's kind of a lot like, I mean, the laws are the law enforcement is supposed to operate within the law. So if law enforcement can't follow the law, then they aren't really enforcement anymore. They're just, they're just, I wouldn't taunt, but there's a different thing going on there, right? It's not like, I wouldn't, like, if a cop pulled me over, they're just doing what they're doing. But like, if a cop pulled me over and started making up shit about me, or, for no reason was being aggressive or saying something was happening that wasn't, then I definitely would be like, no, I don't think so. I have an issue with this. I have, now I'm not, I don't know, but still, it's not a reason to shoot somebody if they taunt you. I mean, I think people should be, but again, proceed with caution. Yeah, really not great economic news going on. This is Peter Schiff. The dollar is going to collapse. The dollar is going to be replaced by gold. Maybe. Replaced by gold. Maybe.
And the world is now pulling the rug out from under the U.S. The dollar is going to collapse. The dollar is going to be replaced by gold. Central banks are buying gold to back up their currencies. They're getting rid of dollars. They're getting rid of treasuries. We are headed for an economic crisis, again, that will make the 2008 financial crisis look like a Sunday school picnic. The biggest difference between the crisis that we're about to have and the one we had back then is this one is all in America. It's not going to be exported to the rest of the world. It's not a global financial crisis. It's an American financial crisis. And the world is now pulling the rug out from under the U.S. The dollars.
It really does seem like that's what's happening. And as gold and silver go up, for people that own gold and silver, they're like, yahoo, good times. But the wider implications of it, it's cool for people that own metals. And, will be great for people that own metals in the future. But the wider implications of what is happening are very, very bad. That's why I every day I'm gobsmacked looking at what's going on with precious metals. Because the implications for the economy on the whole are yikes. Like, yikes. It's kind of like, yeah, if people are exiting the dollar like that, I just can't see anything but real bad times. Like, I cannot see it any other way. I can't see it any other way than just, as you have said, creative, about, a big crash in the past. This, to me, signals something more significant is afoot. And I don't know what, and I don't know when, but like this is, if anything is a harbinger of doom, it is this. It is metals going bonkers like this. That to me is a harbinger of big time doom. Because something is going to have to happen in order, right, for the financial system not to absolutely cave, and they're going to do some kind of reset kind of thing. They're trying to hype gold and silver to rug pull you right now. Prices will fall. And okay. I mean, in a way, I don't want, to people that are holding metals, I don't want that to happen to the people that are holding metals. That would suck. But anything can happen right now. Like, things are all over the place. Again, they can confiscate, they can devalue, they can revalue, they can do all kinds of things at the end of the day. This is an interesting post here about Denmark pressured Trump on Greenland, pressured him by threatening to sell debt. Threatening to sell the U.S. debt. And they were saying that the EU was going to do that too, dump treasuries. And if we didn't back off of Greenland. Have you heard anything about Greenland lately? Nope. Nope. We're teetering. And if they did do that, if they, I mean, China's kind of steadily selling treasuries. They're divesting. They're also hoarding gold. But financial pressure is a big one. And that's why I think that's like the best play right now. The best play right now for the people of the U.S. and the world is to put financial pressure on all these ghouls and get people to back up off of what they're trying to push on everybody. Because we can do it to them. If they can do it to each other, we can do it to them. Absolutely. I don't even really want to play this because what's wrong with this guy? I don't want to hear what he has to say. The EU was ready to do the same to crumble the U.S. economy, which is real close to crumbling as it is. I don't even know how it's still going at the moment. Honestly. What are we running on? What is the U.S. economy running on right now? Like a baling wire and duct tape. Reflect the Sun. Orange Man PDF actively wanting the U.S. to fail to add earnings to multinationals, better profits for his donors. I've heard that too. Well, they're saying like a weaker dollar is, better for all of these guys to scoop up more. Tesla just made over 300 million in 3 months just in currency gains from a lower dollar. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, the problem is that there's gonna be a point at which things start kind of unraveling. Like, sure, in the short term, I'm sure they can do all this kind of stuff, and they will. I mean, a lot of people think this is intentional and engineered. That they want to crash everything so that they can move, the entire financial system onto blockchain, into crypto assets, which highly likely. Like, it seems pretty likely. It seems like that's what they want to do. All of these predictions that we've seen over the last, 4 or 5 years, they all are, they're all coming true. They don't have to. That's the thing, is they don't have to. I feel like, people have been predicting these steps, these sets of events, this timeline of events. People have been presenting it, like, this is what they're going to do. And then they do it. I'm like, well, if you know what they're going to do, what are we doing? Why are we just standing around going like, well, that's what they're going to do. Here it comes. Like, bro, you don't have to accept it. I say unto thee, bro, you don't have to accept it. What are we doing standing around like, Trump's going to institute a digital dollar and put everybody into a digital prison? Okay, but why are we all going to stand around and go, okay, I guess that's what's going on. See, they said it was going to happen, so here it is. Could we live on a dumber fucking timeline? Sorry for my language. Could we have a better response to this other than like, well, yeah. Come on, man. Come on. That's what I'm saying. Like, the people that are out trying to do something or get it going, and it show the pressure shows. Like, we talked about, right? They backed up a little bit off of Minneapolis, apparently, but there was a show, there was theater, like, we're moving Bovino. There isn't really evidence that they have stopped. I saw somebody talking about Chicago when they were in Chicago, like, there was enough pressure from the leaders and people in Chicago that they kind of moved on. They kind of were like, oh, okay, it's just not going to really go that way here. And they moved on to Minneapolis. They're trying, but if people are like, no, no, thank you, we're not doing it. That's not happening here. We're not having it. If people do that, generally the result is that they back up. They're like, well, okay, well, all right, this isn't a good look. This isn't working out for us. This is, we're at risk of escalating things to a point where we might not be able to control the outcome. I saw something about Target in Minneapolis was allowing ICE to stage their operations. And somebody was saying that it was in retaliation. Target was retaliating for people boycotting Target over the DEI stuff. And that might be true. That might be so. That might be true. But so what? Put Target out of business. Fire another CEO. Half their profits. Get them to close stores. Get them to close down. Get them to cut back. Get them to file bankruptcy. Like, yeah, okay. In the short term, they could be like, yeah, screw you guys. You brown people were boycotting us. We don't like that. No, well, and keep boycotting them. The weak dollar is actually the bubble itself. It will pop and the dollar will actually become stronger. Soon the interest on the debt will exceed the Fed's income. Yeah. I don't know. Well, I mean, it looks like there's some kind of crash coming or some kind of we've been in a recession. Everything they've been saying about the economy has been one of the the biggest, fattest lies ever over the last 3-4 years, back into the Biden era. I mean, they were lying through their teeth about everything that was happening, and now Trump's lying through his teeth about everything that's happening. And the last Fed report was ridiculous. Okay. So the dollar is stronger in Brazil? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I saw a comment back here. What's the U.S. economy running on? The military and its complex? Yeah. I'd say so. Let's see. Kate says, my husband told me the silver stock that her friend wanted us to invest in with $1,000 incremental loans from a secret donor has doubled in the course of a month. Yes, I know. Demographics and innovation still suggest corrections, but a move up until 2034 or 35. Yeah. It depends. Let's see. Gene. Very deep insight on my part. It depends. Did you like that? Power over policy. That's the only real way reform will happen. And I see social media is preventing that from happening. Social media is the antithesis of people having influence over solutions. Okay. These social media platforms are an integral part of the political system. Illuminating the problems without then solving the problems makes the problems worse. I agree with that. I totally agree with that. Yes. Divides and distracts people. Absolutely. You can't beat authoritarians using their game plan. BRICS is going to circumvent the global monetary devices controlled by the U.S. when they have their convention in October after what the U.S. did to collapse the Iranian currency, BRICS is not going to pull punches now. I expect our economy to suffer. Yeah, I agree with the idea that we are not. There's a lot of complaining, but no. So it's a double-edged sword, right? Because it does bring awareness of problems to the table, but we haven't solved any. We've only gone backwards in the last 20 years politically, because everybody goes, "What about this?" And then that particular problem never gets dealt with, and then we actually walk backwards into more problems, and we never really gathered the strength to take care of the original problems, which we were, Citizens United, case in point, taxing the rich, case in point. I mean, you have small little victories here and there on like a local level. When's the last time the minimum wage was raised? Right, and the states have to keep raising the minimum wage to keep up with the cost of living, but the federal minimum wage is still $7. Like, come on, man, $7, which I think is a really clear sign of like how right wing the government is, Democrat or Republican. Because if the Democrats can't even raise the minimum wage, we are failed. We are a failed state, like, or a failed political system, right? The Democrats can't even raise the minimum wage, which goes to show how little the Democrats give an F about you. If they can't even do that. Not can't, won't. Yes, you're right, Chuck. They won't. They will not. They won't. They won't give you anything. They will give you absolutely nothing. And Biden, I mean, how people. I get that everybody was like, well, they're not Trump. People tried to push Biden and Kamala down people's throats, as if not being Trump was some kind of argument, but it's not an argument because he was basically Trump. He was basically Trump. Just, this much less of an asshole, but like he was basically Trump. Pretty much everything was the same. As far as not giving you shit and not giving a shit. That was one of the most worthless administrations I've ever seen. Seriously. Excluding Trump, but I mean, Trump is a maniac, but he's doing something. But Biden is the Biden administration was like, what's happening? Nothing. Okay. Cool. At least it's not Trump. Okay. But if the Biden administration didn't show you that the Democrats absolutely are completely rudderless and don't care, and will try to shove somebody equally ridiculous down your throats next time, they'll do it. We'll do. I really am not looking forward to the next election when they're going to push Newsom or some other weirdo on us. And it's going to be the same thing. Well, we got to vote for him because he's the only chance. I mean, the only chance we have against Vance. Right? And everybody's going to be like, how about this progressive person? How about this person that's actually, no, we can't do that. We've got to go for the mainstream dude, the guy with all the money and the looks, because he's the only chance we have. We got to do it. We got to get Vance out of there. Oh my God. It's going to be this. They're going to just argue people into the ground and like nobody's going to learn their lesson. And then, and then it's going to be Democrats screaming at each other again. Because, most Democrats don't freaking understand what's going on. But, hopefully people will wake up to the idea that, 2016, when everybody was saying, maybe we should go more progressive and not do the Hillary thing. And that's the way we're going to beat Trump. And then, now we are here, not to have a moment of I told you so, but like, had anybody listened back then, had anybody, hopefully people can look back and have a little bit of a historical political acumen and understand like, oh yeah, they were right. They were right. I don't know if anybody's going to learn that lesson. That's right, Extra Bolo. Works every time. And it's probably going to happen again. And so when it happens again, I'm going to tape my mouth shut. I'm going to delete myself from the internet. I'm going to walk off into the mountains and go, have fun. Have fun with that, you guys. I don't know. All right, guys, if you want to support this show, you know how to do it. There's lots of links in the description box of whatever channel you're watching on. You can support me on Patreon. You can support me on Substack. You can do all those things. You can support me at Venmo, PayPal, CashApp, buy me a coffee, etc., etc. And thanks to everyone who does do that on the regular. Thanks, Kate. Also, I think Kate bought some music. No. You were just invited to a Thomas Paine 200th birthday party for it? Okay. Demographics say bull market could have years to run. Okay. I don't know. I don't know. The only thing that the gold thing and the silver thing are interesting to me. Just because we've been hearing about like a debt jubilee, a massive market correction, a reset, economic reset happening for years and years. And we have also been hearing about, well, gold and silver are going to, skyrocket in value. And here it is. This is the year. And I wonder if those things go hand in hand. I'm concerned that they go hand in hand. That's all. But the economy still somehow keeps on bumping along. Not in a great way because inflation is crazy. But it's bumping along. And it's been bumping along for a while since the 2008 crash. That was a weird one. Yeah, when the climate thing starts kicking everybody economically in the cojones, then that's going to be interesting too. All right, guys, I got to take off. Thanks so much. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate you. Oh, by the way, my album, the album I just released, the Matador album, is going to be streaming on all the platforms tomorrow: Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, etc. Go over and go subscribe to my Patreon channel, the music channel. That's at Kevin Sandbloom, the number 1. Kevin Sandbloom, the number 1. It's free. Just subscribe there, and you can get updated on all my music stuff there. I'll be doing a few, subscriber type things in the future, but right now everything's pretty much free over there if you want to keep posted. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Appreciate you. Until next time, beware the bear.